So this is the off season, and one of the few things that you can expect is obviously to hear a bunch of trade rumors, uh, a bunch of drama surrounding getting back to training camp. But one other thing that you can expect is that Kevin Durant is going to be on social media answering trolls, answering fans, and just defending himself, which in principle shouldn't be a problem, right? But when you Kevin Durant, like, you have to move a certain kind of way, in my opinion. You have to understand that most of the people that hate on you on social media are really fans deep down, and they are just looking for an opportunity to shine and get some clicks. And Kevin Durant, he fell for it one more time, but this time I think like he poked the wrong beer. There's this comedian called Ryan Davis who said that defense actually wins championship. Kevin Durant disagreed, and he said offense wins championship. Then Ryan Davis came back on social media and he answered, not in a disrespectful way. He threw a little jab, but nothing too crazy, right? And Kevin Durant pretty much he took it to another level and disrespected him. He said, for a trash-ass comedian like you to disagree with a two-time champion about how to win is crazy. So he called him a trash-ass comedian, and once you disrespect someone's craft, you have to expect some fire back in your way. And Kevin Durant broke the number one rule with a comedian. You do not engage in roast battles with a comedian, because these guys pretty much get paid to roast you all day. And this comedian, Ryan Davis, he went crazy at Kevin Durant, man. So take a listen to what he had to say, and then we're going to come back and react to it.
You said that offense wins championships instead of defense winning championships, and I disagreed. I said it's probably the thinking that you have is why you haven't got close to competing for a title since leaving Golden State. Because during Golden State's run, they had a top 3 defensive efficiency. That's a fact. Since defense isn't as important, explain this to me, Eddie Kane Jr. In the modern era of basketball, the Hall of Famers with the most titles, Kareem, Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, Kobe, Tim Duncan. They have at minimum 8 all-defensive selections. Not a bunch of scoring titles between all of them. All have a significant amount of all-defense selections. You know what Kevin Durant has never had? I know you're thinking waves, and you're right. But Kevin Durant has never had an all-defensive selection. The funny thing is, the only team that has had a bad defensive efficiency and still won the title is the 01 Lakers. And they had Kobe and Shaq. And ironically, both of them were all defensive selections that year. So even when there's a bad team defense, you still need your best players to be top tier on the defensive end. But I'll do you one better. You know who put an end to that Lakers dynasty? The Detroit Pistons. Our only Hall of Famer on the team is Ben Wallace, who averaged a whopping 6 points a game through his career. Defense. But I wouldn't expect you to know anything about defense, Kevin Durant, because playing defense takes heart. And after you joined the Golden State Warriors, after losing a 3-1 lead to them, we all knew you didn't have heart. Instead of wanting to run it back, you went ahead and joined the team that knocked you out of the playoffs. 12 of 31 from the field. What did you do in Game 6? You went 10 of 31 from the field. So either the Warriors locked y'all up defensively to get past you, which would make defense more important, or you're a choke artist. Which one is it? Which one is it? And then you have the nerve to name yourself Easy Money Sniper. You know what a sniper is? A killer. You know what a sniper is? Accurate. Those are 2 things you are not whenever a team is dependent on you to carry them to victory. You miss everything. That's why it makes sense that you went over to Golden State. They had already shown that they were killers and that they were winners. See, you only look like a killer whenever other killers are already in the room with you. You're like, not a sniper, you're the dude with the pea shooter. You just add a little bit on top, like the nigga in Harlem Nights. See, in the game of basketball, when a team's best player gets hurt, the team suffers tremendously. When you got hurt in the playoffs when you was with Golden State, they still won the Western Conference Finals. They still went on to the finals. And if Klay Thompson didn't get hurt, they probably would have won without you.
All right, so you heard what he had to say. And the worst part about it is that he had a few jokes in there, but that wasn't even comedy. That was a very articulate basketball take point after point about Kevin Durant's career, and I gotta say I pretty much agree with everything that he had to say, man. From the offensive mindset that Kevin Durant has on the floor and the way he pretty much constructs his roster, or for the people that say do not construct his roster for whatever reason, he keeps on ending on these stacked rosters offensively. He touched on the roster that he had on OKC, then he joined the Warriors, which was just so great that they weren't supposed to lose. Then he came back, double down with Kyrie Irving. They started with a very well-balanced roster with Kyrie, Jared Allen protecting the paint. They had, what's the name of the guy on the Cavs? I forget his name, but you remember who was on there. They had Joe Harris, they had shooting, they had 3-and-D guys, they had one of the best defensive big men in the league in Jared Allen, and they fired everyone. They even had Kenny Atkinson, who's known for his defense, right? Got him up out the way. They went and grabbed Steve Nash, who's an offensive coach, because KD and Kyrie were cool with it. And then they doubled down. They traded all their depth away for more offense in James Harden. And as a result of that, they lost to the Boston Celtics, who were defensive-minded. They also lost to the Bucks. Now, we all know that injuries happened, and maybe that was the year that they would prove everyone wrong. They get over the hump, but they still ended up losing to a defensive-minded team on the Milwaukee Bucks, who had Giannis, who had PJ Tucker that year, who had Jrue Holiday, who had Chris Middleton, who can play some defense. They were loaded defensively. Lost to that team. Now he goes to the Suns. And they doubled down. They had a roster who couldn't play no defense last year. And what did they do? Rather than go out there and gain some more depth, more defense, now they got Bradley Beal, who can play some defense, but he's not a defensive player either. And they keep on going like that, and they're probably going to lose again. So that's one point. Then obviously, I'm not even going to get into him joining the Golden State Warriors after blowing a 3-1 lead to them. He actually addressed some point that pretty much goes under the radar, because Steph Curry ended up choking a 3-1 lead to LeBron James. He choked a 3-1 lead to Stephen Curry, and he shot horribly, and everyone wanted to blame Russ. But if you look at the percentage that he actually shot in the fourth quarter, especially of Game 5, 6, and 7, it's on KD just as it was on Russ for choking that lead. And, man, at this point, Kevin Durant is an all-time great. There's no debating that, right? To me, he's a top 20 to top 25 player of all time, but he will go down as one of the most underappreciated and disrespected superstar of all time, just because of this constant back and forth with the media and with the fans. I get the idea of, you're not going to let people talk slick about you online, but at some point you have to let your game do the talking. Wait until you win some more to go out there and talk. You're over there losing, getting swept in the first round of the playoffs, and rather than doubling down, you go on podcasts, you go at the media, you on Twitter arguing with fans and trolls, and you even embrace the fact that you have a burner account. You can't do that. I personally think that it affects his legacy for him to act a fool like that on social media, and he actually put himself in the fire, because usually would argue with casuals and make them look foolish on social media. But this guy in Ryan Davis is a comedian, so obviously he has the delivery to be funny, and he actually knew ball, and he just took KD apart. So anyways, get in the comment section, give me your thoughts about this whole thing. And do you agree with KD that offense will win you a championship over defense? Do you think that Ryan Davis had some good points? And what do you think of KD as a whole? And I appreciate you guys for checking me out. Please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you guys later with more content. Peace.